Picture a moment I'm sure you've lived through recently. It's Friday evening around 5:30. You've just wrapped up a 45-hour work week. Your body is in the car or on the train, but your mind is completely drained. As you head home, the thought of cooking feels as exhausting as climbing a mountain. So you open a food delivery app. You order Thai, pizza, or burgers, and after fees and tips, it runs you about $52. You finally get home, pour a drink to take the edge off, and collapse onto the couch. You binge a show you don't even enjoy that much, just to shut your brain down. You tell yourself you deserve this, you worked hard all week. But what if I told you that mathematically, you didn't just spend $52? What if that food, the fuel you burned commuting, the clothes you wore to look professional, and the stress that pushed you to order takeout in the first place are all hidden taxes quietly eating away nearly 70% of your income? You think you're selling your time for $30 an hour, but once we do a forensic breakdown of your life, the math shows you may actually be earning closer to $4 an hour. My name is Andrew, and I spend an unhealthy amount of time thinking about the invisible equations that control our lives and keep us running on hamster wheels that move just a little faster than we can. If you look at your paycheck and wonder where it disappears, or if you feel like you're working harder in late 2025 than ever before while your savings go nowhere, hit subscribe and like this video. Because today isn't about investing, it's about an accounting fraud. Not one committed by a corporation, but one you unknowingly commit against yourself every time you accept a job offer based only on gross pay. We are going to calculate your real hourly wage, and once you see it, you'll never look at prices the same way again. Here's the lie most of us are taught from the moment we leave school. Your worth is defined by your annual salary. If you earn $68,000 a year, that works out to roughly $31 an hour. On paper, that sounds solid, respectable, livable. But in business, revenue without expenses is how companies go bankrupt. A bakery can sell $900,000 worth of bread, but if it spends $900,000 on rent and ingredients, it's worth nothing. Yet when it comes to our labor, we only look at revenue, our salary, and ignore the cost of producing it. And the product being sold is you, your time, your energy, your life. Let's do a brutal audit of an average worker. We'll call him James. James earns that same $31 an hour. Before it even hits his account, taxes take their share. Between federal tax, state tax, and FICA, that $31 quickly becomes about $24. That part isn't surprising. Now come the work-related expenses, the costs James pays just to be allowed to earn money. First, the commute. Gas, maintenance, insurance, or transit passes. If James drives 30 minutes each way, that's wear and tear on a car he mostly owns to get to work. Conservatively, this costs him about $4,800 a year. Next is appearance. James can't show up in pajamas. He needs presentable clothes, grooming, dry cleaning. That's another expense. Then comes the convenience tax. Because James is stuck at work all day, he buys lunch a couple of times a week. He grabs $6 coffees to survive afternoon meetings. He pays a dog walker because he's not home. These expenses only exist because of the job. He is literally paying money to be able to work. And then there's the darkest category, decompression spending. This is the money spent coping with the job. The Friday night drinks, the impulse vacation just to escape, therapy, shopping, distractions. This is the cost of repairing the psychological damage work creates. Add all of this together, taxes, commuting, clothes, food, stress spending, and James isn't really earning $68,000. His true usable income is closer to $38,000. But we're only halfway done. Wages aren't just money. They're money divided by time. And just like we overestimate income, we dramatically underestimate time. HR says James works 40 hours a week. That's fiction. James wakes up early to get ready. That's unpaid labor. He commutes 30 minutes each way. More unpaid labor. His lunch break isn't freedom. He's still trapped near the office. He can't rest, see family, or live. When he gets home, he spends time decompressing, venting, checking emails, mentally recovering. This is shadow work, time that belongs to the job but isn't compensated. When you add grooming, commuting, recovery, and mental load, James isn't working 40 hours. He's dedicating 55 to 60 hours a week to employment. Now we do the real math. Take that $38,000 net income and divide it by nearly 3,000 hours a year. Suddenly, that $31 an hour collapses. James is effectively earning $11 an hour, sometimes $9, and in high-stress, high-cost environments, even less than the teenager flipping burgers who walks to work, wears a uniform, and leaves stress behind at closing time. This is the work scam. You're trapped in a high-churn, low-margin business where you are the product, and you're selling yourself at a loss. I know this sounds depressing, but the point isn't despair. The point is awareness. Once you know your real hourly wage, your relationship with money changes instantly. This idea comes from Your Money or Your Life. If your real wage is $10 an hour and you see shoes priced at $120, that's not $120. That's 12 hours of your life, 12 hours of traffic, emails, meetings, and stress. Suddenly, most purchases don't feel worth it. This math also exposes the golden handcuffs trap. Promotions often increase pay while destroying margins. Say you get a raise of $12,000. Sounds great, but now you work later, order food constantly, buy nicer clothes, maybe even need a second car. Stress rises, so spending rises. Your real hourly wage can actually go down. You're moving more money through your account, but keeping less and trading more of your life for it. There's also a terrifying opportunity cost. Every dollar spent supporting work is stolen from your future. That $6 daily coffee, invested over 30 years at 7%, becomes nearly $180,000. You're not just drinking coffee, you're drinking your retirement. The system depends on you being too tired to calculate this. It wants you focused on income, not efficiency, so you keep upgrading apartments, cars, and lifestyles that lock you into the job you need to survive them. So what's the solution? Not quitting tomorrow and living in the woods. The solution is optimizing your real hourly wage. That becomes the metric, not salary, but efficiency. If working from home 2 days a week saves you 2 hours of commuting and $12 a day, that's a massive raise without negotiating pay. Meal prepping lowers your cost of goods sold. Living closer to work matters. Caring less about appearances matters. Every work-related expense you cut is pure freedom. The biggest shift is mental. You must treat your labor like a business. Smart businesses increase margins, not just revenue. Your life is the business. Margin is the time and money left to actually live. If you earn $105,000 but spend $98,000 and work 80 hours a week, you're a failing company waiting to collapse. But if you earn $52,000, spend $22,000, and work 30 hours, you're a profitable, resilient enterprise. This is where awareness becomes action. Sit down on a calm Sunday and run the numbers. Calculate commute costs. Estimate taxes. Be honest about stress spending. Divide net income by total hours committed. Write that number down. The next time you're about to buy something pointless, ask yourself if it's worth trading hours of your life. That friction saves more money than any app. Time is becoming the ultimate currency. The wealthy buy time. Everyone else sells it cheaply. Don't sell yours at a discount. Audit your life. Cut the vampire costs. Build the gap between income and expenses, because that gap is where freedom lives. If this made you rethink your paycheck, share it with someone who looks exhausted. We're stuck in the same trap, but we can math our way out together. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.